It's 2015, in a modest garage workshop in Harare, Zimbabwe. While the world's leading scientists debate the future of renewable energy in billion-dollar laboratories, a self-taught inventor is about to shake the very foundations of physics. Maxwell Chikumbutso stands before a machine that shouldn't exist. No fuel tanks, no solar panels, no connection to the power grid. Yet somehow, impossibly, it hums with life, generating electricity from nothing. Or so it seems. The handful of engineers who witnessed it were speechless. Some called it impossible. Others whispered about violations of thermodynamics. But the lights it powered were real. The energy meter readings were undeniable. This is the story they don't want you to hear. The story of a man who may have rediscovered one of history's most controversial secrets, a secret that died with Nikola Tesla over 80 years ago. What you're about to learn might change everything you thought you knew about energy, invention, and the forces that shape our world. Because sometimes the most revolutionary discoveries don't come from prestigious universities or corporate research labs. Sometimes they come from a garage in Africa. Maxwell Chikumbutso's story begins not in lecture halls or laboratories, but in the dusty streets of rural Zimbabwe. Born into modest circumstances, he never had the privilege of formal higher education. While others his age were studying theoretical physics in universities, Maxwell was dismantling old radios, fascinated by the invisible forces that made them work. By age 14, he had built his first radio transmitter from salvaged parts, a feat that would challenge many engineering students. His neighbors thought he was wasting his time. His family worried about his obsession with useless electronics. But Maxwell saw something others didn't. He understood patterns in electromagnetic fields the way musicians understand melodies, intuitively, without needing sheet music to explain why certain notes harmonize. His breakthrough inventions started small. First, a helicopter drone that operated without conventional radar systems, technology that caught the attention of local aviation enthusiasts. Then, more ambitious projects that defied conventional understanding. By 2015, whispers began spreading through Zimbabwe's tech community. Chikumbutso had done something impossible. He'd built a machine that generated its own power continuously, without any apparent energy source. They called it the greener power machine. And that's when everything changed. That's when the world should have paid attention. Instead, silence fell like a heavy curtain. To understand Maxwell Chikumbutso's invention, we must travel back to 1901 to a laboratory on Long Island, New York. There, Nikola Tesla was constructing what he believed would be his greatest achievement, the Wardenclyffe Tower. Tesla's vision was breathtaking in its ambition. He didn't just want to transmit information wirelessly, he wanted to transmit power itself through the air, making energy as free and accessible as radio waves. His notebook spoke of tapping into the Earth's natural electromagnetic field, of resonant frequencies that could unlock limitless energy. "The present is theirs," Tesla once said of his critics, "but the future, for which I really worked, is mine." Now, fast forward to Zimbabwe, 2015. Maxwell Chikumbutso, who claims he never studied Tesla's work in detail, develops a device operating on eerily similar principles: radio frequency harvesting, electromagnetic resonance, energy amplification through harmonic oscillation. The parallels are impossible to ignore. Both men spoke of extracting energy from the ambient environment. Both used unconventional antenna designs. Both claimed their devices could power themselves indefinitely. Both faced immediate skepticism from the scientific establishment. But there's one crucial difference. Tesla's tower was demolished in 1917, his dreams crushed by financial ruin and corporate interests. His papers? Seized by the government after his death, with many still classified. Chikumbutso's device? It worked. Multiple witnesses confirmed it. So why haven't you heard about it? The answer to that question leads us down a rabbit hole deeper than you might imagine. The greener power machine defies everything we think we know about energy conservation. According to those who've examined it, here's what makes it extraordinary. The device has no moving parts in its power generation section. No turbines, no pistons, nothing that conventional physics says should produce electricity. Instead, it uses a complex array of antenna-like structures and frequency generators, creating what Chikumbutso calls a harmonic energy field. The machine allegedly operates on a principle of electromagnetic resonance amplification. Think of it like this. Just as an opera singer can shatter a glass by hitting the right frequency, Chikumbutso claims his device shatters the barrier between potential and kinetic energy in the electromagnetic spectrum. Key components include multiple frequency generators operating at specific harmonic intervals, specialized antenna arrays that supposedly capture ambient electromagnetic radiation, a mysterious core unit that Chikumbutso has never fully revealed, output regulators that maintain a steady 220-volt supply. Several international engineers who tested the device reported consistent findings. The machine produces more energy than it consumes. We measured it repeatedly. The output is real, sustained, and stable. But according to our understanding of physics, this should be impossible. One South African electrical engineer who requested anonymity stated, "I've worked in power generation for 30 years. What I saw in that workshop changed everything I thought I knew. Either this man has discovered a new law of physics, or he's tapped into something we've been taught doesn't exist." The machine reportedly powered multiple household appliances simultaneously during demonstrations. Lights, televisions, even power tools, all while disconnected from any external power source. But if this technology is real, if it truly works as claimed, then we must ask the most troubling question of all. Why isn't it powering homes across Africa right now? The story takes a dark turn after 2015. Following initial media coverage of his invention, Maxwell Chikumbutso was invited to California by a group claiming to represent clean energy investors. He flew to the United States, bringing detailed schematics and a working prototype. What happened next depends on who you ask. Official records show he attended several meetings with technology firms. Unofficial sources paint a different picture, one of increasing pressure, veiled threats, and ultimatums. 3 months after arriving in America, Chikumbutso returned to Zimbabwe. His prototype confiscated at customs for security screening. The schematics mysteriously corrupted on all his devices. But the strangest part was Maxwell himself. The confident inventor who once proclaimed he would light up Africa now avoided media, canceled demonstrations, and spoke in vague terms about needing more time for development. Reports from Zimbabwe suggest his workshop was visited multiple times by foreign consultants. Several of his early supporters received warnings about promoting fraudulent technology. Patent applications were rejected on grounds of impossibility. His manufacturing facility plans were denied permits for safety concerns. A former colleague, speaking on condition of anonymity, revealed Maxwell didn't abandon his work by choice. He was made to understand that some innovations are too disruptive to be allowed. They didn't need to destroy his invention, they just needed to ensure it never reached the market. The pattern is disturbingly familiar. Throughout history, inventors claiming breakthrough energy technologies have faced similar fates. Mysterious fires, sudden financial troubles, unexplained disappearances. Is Maxwell Chikumbutso another casualty in a long line of silenced innovators? The scientific community remains deeply divided on Chikumbutso's claims. Mainstream physicists argue that his device violates the fundamental laws of thermodynamics. You cannot create energy from nothing. Dr. Sarah Chen, a theoretical physicist from MIT, explains, "Every perpetual motion claim in history has been debunked. Energy must come from somewhere. If this device works, it's either drawing power from a hidden source, or our understanding of physics needs a complete revision." But here is where it gets interesting. Critics who denounce the technology have overwhelmingly never examined the device firsthand. Their dismissals are based on theory, not observation. Meanwhile, those who have actually tested the machine tell a different story. A consortium of African engineers released a controversial report in 2016. We subjected the greener power machine to rigorous testing over 72 hours. No external power sources were detected. No batteries or fuel cells were found. Yet the device maintained consistent output. We cannot explain the phenomenon, but we cannot deny what we measured. Could the answer lie not in violating physics, but in understanding it differently? Some theoretical physicists propose that devices like Chikumbutso's might tap into zero-point energy, the quantum field that exists even in perfect vacuum. Dr. Harold White, a former NASA researcher, suggests, if someone discovered a way to extract even a tiny fraction of zero-point energy, it would appear to violate conservation laws while actually working within quantum mechanics. But perhaps the most telling evidence isn't scientific, it's economic. If Chikumbutso's device is obviously fraudulent, why the coordinated effort to suppress it? Why not simply let it fail publicly? Unless, of course, it doesn't fail. Unless it actually works. Maxwell Chikumbutso isn't alone. Across Africa, a new generation of inventors is challenging energy paradigms and facing similar resistance. In Nigeria, engineer Ezekiel Izugo developed a self-sustaining generator in 2017, only to have his laboratory mysteriously ransacked. In Kenya, a group of university students created an atmospheric energy harvester that disappeared along with all documentation after attracting international attention. Breakthrough announced, brief media coverage, international interest, then silence. But why Africa? Why are these innovations emerging from a continent often overlooked by mainstream science? Perhaps it's precisely because African inventors operate outside traditional academic constraints. Without prestigious grants to lose or tenure to protect, they're free to explore impossible ideas. Or perhaps it's necessity. Where electrical grids are unreliable and fuel is expensive, the motivation to find alternatives burns brightest. Consider the implications if even one of these devices works. Energy independence for millions without power. Collapse of traditional utility monopolies. Disruption of global oil markets. Geopolitical power shifts as energy-poor nations become energy independent. These aren't just scientific curiosities, they're existential threats to some of the world's most powerful industries. An anonymous executive from a major energy company allegedly stated, "We spend millions monitoring emerging energy technologies. Most are harmless. But occasionally, something appears that could destabilize everything. That's when we act." Is Africa witnessing the birth of an energy revolution that powerful forces are desperate to abort? History has a cruel way of repeating itself. In 1943, Nikola Tesla died alone in a New York hotel room, his revolutionary ideas dismissed as the fantasies of a mad genius. Within hours, federal agents seized his papers. Many remain classified to this day. Tesla's crime? He threatened to democratize energy, to make it free and accessible to all. His punishment? Professional ridicule, financial ruin, and historical obscurity. Now, in the 21st century, we see the same drama playing out. Maxwell Chikumbutso and others like him haven't just created devices, they've committed the same sin as Tesla. They've threatened the carefully maintained scarcity that keeps energy expensive and controlled. The suppression tactics have evolved. No need for dramatic raids or public trials. Modern silencing is subtle. Patent rejections, regulatory hurdles, financial pressure, and the constant drumbeat of scientific impossibility. But truth has a way of surfacing. Every dismissed invention, every silenced inventor adds another piece to a puzzle we're slowly beginning to see. The picture emerging suggests that free energy isn't just possible, it may have been discovered multiple times throughout history. The question isn't whether these technologies exist. The question is whether humanity is ready for them. Are we prepared for a world where energy scarcity, the foundation of modern geopolitics and economics, suddenly vanishes? Perhaps that's the real reason these inventions disappear, not because they don't work, but because they work too well. This story isn't really about Maxwell Chikumbutso. It's not even about free energy. It's about the invisible boundaries that define our reality, boundaries maintained not by the laws of physics, but by those who profit from scarcity. Every time you flip a light switch, every time you fill your gas tank, remember that somewhere in Africa, a man in a garage may have found a better way. A way that threatens trillion-dollar industries and century-old power structures. The silence surrounding these inventions speaks louder than any announcement. In that silence, we hear the echo of every suppressed innovation, every buried breakthrough that could have changed our world. Maxwell Chikumbutso's story may have been pushed into the shadows, but shadows have a way of growing longer as the light of truth slowly dawns. The question now is simple. Will you help bring that light, or will you let the darkness win? Because the greatest conspiracy isn't about hiding aliens or faking moon landings. It's about keeping humanity dependent on resources that may not need to be scarce at all. And that truth? That's the most dangerous invention of all.